What is going on, everybody in the YouTube stratosphere? It is me, TALK-IS-PITT, the #1 YouTuber who eats, breathes, and shits everything Pitt. Oh, man. Need to stop drinking so much Turner's iced tea. I wish I would have did a more in-depth fucking video on that. The whole UNLV situation. Little bit of info for upcoming live streams. Tomorrow I'm going to put out a video. Not exactly what I think. Well, actually, I know what it's going to be. So, it's going to be my top 5 non-ACC college football games that I'm looking forward to following and or watching. And then it's going to be my top 5 ACC football games that I think I'm going to pay close attention to. Wide receiver Pitt, welcome. Like, for instance, California and Miami. I'm going to be paying attention to that game. Adam, welcome. He says they contain Hampton and we should win by 14 held to Pitt. Well, see, the thing is, last year we held North Carolina to, or we didn't held North Carolina. We held Omarion Hampton to only 66 yards rushing. I can't exactly remember how many touchdowns he had in the last game. I will actually be doing a North Carolina versus Pitt preview and prediction video, like a more in depth than what I'm going to talk about today type of situation. Hopefully, I'm going to have the Tar Heel Huddle on that show. Hopefully, I don't know yet. I don't know when he's posting content for North Carolina versus Pitt. To be honest, he's the only North Carolina person I know. I see that North Carolina is getting one of their defensive linemen back. I haven't heard anything about that, but that video will be talked about on Friday, and I'm pretty sure I'll find out by then or whenever I get off this live stream. I'll look that up. But what I had trouble finding is North Carolina's depth chart. I'm not subscribed to any newsletter or anything like that. I'm not going to waste my time with all that bullshit. But I have not found their depth chart. I don't usually know when they release it. But more on North Carolina and Pitt later on in this video. And yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. A couple of teams were on some bye weeks last week. Pitt was one of them. But we're going to start off with the Virginia Tech and Miami game. Now, I did not watch this game. Actually, I didn't really watch much of college football Saturday. Uh, but Virginia Tech, okay, to me, was one of the most overrated teams coming into 2024, in my opinion, because they return a lot of production. A lot of people thought that Virginia Tech would contend for an ACC championship, and it's still theoretically possible for Virginia Tech to do that. However, is it likely? Is it logical and reasonable that Virginia Tech contends for an ACC championship? I don't know. I would have to look at the rest of their schedule. Virginia Tech loses to Miami on a Friday, 38-34, and there is a controversial call at the end of that game where, to be honest, after looking at it so many times, I'm not sure that I'm not honestly sure that Virginia Tech had complete control and possession of that ball, because it actually looked like there were multiple people with their hands on that ball, to be honest. And I'm not 100% sure if they had complete control over that. So I understand why it was overturned, or else Virginia Tech would have pulled off one of the biggest upsets that they've had in a long time. But unfortunately, Virginia Tech falls to Miami 38-34. And Virginia Tech, they just got to, move on. They got to move on from this one. Yeah, agreed. Wide receiver Dub Pitt. One of them was out of bounds. So if multiple people had possession and one of those players had a hand on the ball and he was out of bounds, I would, consider that, an incomplete. Yeah, Adam, Virginia Tech has had some overhype over the years. I just wish they didn't beat our ass last year. I mean, they whooped our ass. Louisville plays a close one to Notre Dame and somehow loses 31-34. And I honestly did not pick Notre Dame to win this game. I thought Louisville would win this game. Notre Dame is overrated. Uh, and and that's that. And Louisville failed to beat Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is not that good. I think we all can agree on that. This is a game that I thought would be a little bit closer. Stupid motorcycle. This game is a game I thought would be more closer, especially because this team battled Syracuse and won. And that was Stanford versus Clemson. Down in this was down in Death Valley. Clemson beats Stanford 40-14. I thought this game would be a lot closer. Agreed, Adam. That's Notre Dame's Achilles heel is there some people are going to be able to catch on to that. You know, that Notre Dame is one dimensional. Clemson beats the crap out of Stanford 42-14. Thought this game would only be decided by 7 to 10 points, honestly, because Stanford is better than I thought they would be. They have more fight in them than I thought. All right. Before I continue, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Click the notification bell to stay up to date for more Pitt and college football content. If I had my Cash App link, I would be posting that down there. I actually do not have that. Anywho, moving on. This game is definitely not a game I saw being close at all, but somehow another overrated ACC team coming into this season. Absolutely, wide receiver Pitt. Agreed. Stanford's quarterback is very, how should I say, very up and down. Jekyll and Hyde. Boston College survives, doesn't beat, they survive against Western Kentucky, everybody. Western Kentucky, look, some people say Western Kentucky is good. Some people say they're bad. Whatever you say about the Hilltoppers, Boston College is a Power 5 team. And now you can actually say that. Boston College is a Power 5 team. Western Kentucky is a group of 5 team. And and I'll get to that in a minute. You should still be able to beat a group of 5 team by at least 2 possessions. And my subscribers are bringing up a valid point. Boston College did not have Thomas Castellanos. And to be honest, people should have realized that Boston College was overrated coming into the season because they were able to lose to a 2-win Pitt football team. We were able to beat Boston College last year, and we were bad. We were bad last year. So that should have told you that Boston College is horrible. Or I shouldn't say horrible. They're overrated. NC State also survives a team who has upset somebody this season and has a history of upsetting teams before. Like Northern Illinois, they have a history of upsetting teams they shouldn't, like Alabama. NC State is just that bad that they allowed Northern Illinois to hang around in this game. But NC State is a win is a win. You beat Northern Illinois 24-17. Uh, NC State is very overrated. I agree. That is 100% true. All right. I'm going to actually put a. Give me 1 second. Do, 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 do. Wow, I'm dumb. All right, give me 1 second, guys. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Trying to set that up there. NC State, like I said, another team that was overhyped going into the season because look, NC State for the past few seasons has been one of those teams that has been stagnant at around 8-4 to 9-3. Now, don't get me wrong, that is consistent. They are consistent at winning 8 to 9 games, but that's their problem. They've only been able to win 8 to 9 games, never really being able to take it much further than that. And they're winning 9 games by winning bowl games as well, too, most of the time. It seems like whenever they win 9 games in the regular season, they lose their bowl game. But nevertheless, NC State, a win is a win, like I said, 24-17 over NIU. Syracuse, this game's not much to talk about. Takes care of business 42-14 against Holy Cross. I did not watch any of the highlights of that game. This game, I actually watched the condensed version on YouTube. Louisiana comes into Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and beats the Demon Deacons 41-38. Now, Wake Forest had an opportunity with 5 seconds left to tie this game up. And I think the field goal was only like 40 yards or less. And what does Wake Forest do? Doink. Hits the ball off the upright. No good. Game's over. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, come into Winston-Salem and beat Wake Forest 41-38. This is another game where a team came back from a deficit and won 21-20. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. North Carolina blew a 20-point lead going into the second half and allowed Duke to come back and win 21-20. This is a game that I actually watched. I watched the whole entire game, and Duke could not do a damn thing in the first half. The reason why Duke won this game is because of their running back, number 17. His name, I cannot, for whatever reason, remember off the top of my head. If somebody could put that in the comment section, I will highlight that. Oh, man. Ooh, cracked my back right there. Duke, I do believe that is the largest comeback for the Blue Devils in quite some time, especially in the rivalry. So Duke takes back their trophy, and these two schools have a rivalry similar to the backyard brawl, and I say similar, not as intense, especially in football. Basketball, maybe, but as far as football goes, this rivalry has a lot of similarities to the backyard brawl as far as being close and the hatred the two schools have for each other. I just don't think it matches the intensity and the hatred level of the backyard brawl between Pitt and West Virginia. So North Carolina takes a second loss in a row, 21-20 to the Duke Blue Devils. It's not going to get any easier for North Carolina next week, or should not next week. This Saturday when they take on Pitt. This game does not surprise me. What does surprise me is maybe I was a little bit wrong about this team in the beginning because they couldn't figure it out. And I'm still not totally sold on them, but I will say they are better than what I thought. And this team does scare me a little bit whenever we have to go down and play them. I'm talking about SMU throttling horrible state 42-16. SMU beats Florida State 42-16. That's the same exact score that Pitt beat Miami the last time Pitt played the Hurricanes. That's the same exact score, 42-16. And that was with Keaton Slovis. I don't know if you guys remember that. Those are all the ACC games last week. Like I said, Pitt was on a bye. A couple other teams were on a bye as well. And now we are going to move on, everybody. We're going to move on. But before we move on to the week 6 ACC preview and prediction, and the reason why I'm moving so fast is because there's nobody in the freaking background waiting. What I'm gonna do though is star the comment. My channel will get big enough one day. But with that being said, we are going to now move on to the week 6 ACC preview and prediction segment of this live stream. Now, what I did differently, and this is how I'm going to stick to it, I included the point spread, the over under, blah blah blah, the betting lines, all that good stuff, the shit you guys like to do. Um, I included all that, and yeah, I'm going to start off with the first game on my list. Syracuse will travel to Las Vegas, and this is what I don't understand. Syracuse is traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Rebels, UNLV Rebels, and there's a lot of controversy going up on in Vegas, and it kind of has ties to the University of Pittsburgh because Vegas, they're the Rebels, their offensive coordinator is our former wide receiver coach, Brennan Marion. And Panther fans are going to remember him for being a one and done player. And he's the reason why Brennan Marion got himself fired. From what the rumors were circulating around is he was going around to recruits introducing himself as the new offensive coordinator, and Pat Narduzzi caught wind of it. Obviously, he's got to find out. He told him to stop. Apparently, Brendan Marion didn't, and he's fired. Um, so good job on that, Brendan Marion, for being stupid. With all the controversy going on with the Rebels right now, with their quarterback, their running back, one of the running backs deciding to redshirt, I didn't know what UNLV would look like, and they came out and took care of business last week with a win. And Syracuse comes into their town, and the Rebels are a 6.5 point favorite in this one. The over under is 58.5. And I'm going to take, honestly, I'm going to take the Rebels in this one because one, Kyle McCord has a tendency to turn the ball over, and two, Syracuse doesn't have a good defense. They don't. So I'm going to take the Rebels. I'm going to take, I'm actually going to take the under, to be honest. But I do not think it'll be by 6.5 points. I think it'll be by 3 to 5. I think 6.5 is a little too high. I get that the Rebels are at home, but this is Syracuse coming to town. It's a Power 5 team. SMU goes on the road to play Louisville. Louisville is a 7.5 point favorite in this game. And there we go. Louisville is a 7. Louisville is a 7 point favorite in this game. Sorry. And I honestly am not sure. This game was hard for me to pick at first, but give me 1 second. I'm about to. Whew, sneeze like hell. Can Louisville regroup, says wide receiver Pitt. I don't know. I don't know. This game was hard to pick at first, but because it's at home, I'm going to take Louisville to win the game, but I'm going to take the under in this one at 56.5. And I do not think Louisville will cover the spread, but I do think they will get the win. Boston College travels to UVA's neck of the woods in Charlottesville to take on a UVA team who, to be honest, is a lot better than a lot of the predictions that people have came up with for this year. A lot of people picked UVA to finish damn near the bottom of the ACC, probably at the bottom of the ACC next to Stanford. But they've improved, or they have. Honestly, they're almost exceeding my expectations. They get Boston College at home. Now, I don't know if Boston College will get their quarterback back. If they do, or if they don't, I'm going to take Boston College to lose. And the point spread is only -1, which I do believe in gambling term that is a pick'em game, meaning there's really no clear-cut winner. To me, that's low. I do think UVA will be able to win by more than one. I think UVA covers the spread. Um, I am going to take the under on this one as well, but UVA to cover and get the win. Wake Forest travels to NC State. Okay, I know NC State is overrated and not that good, but why is NC State only a 5.5 point favorite over Wake Forest? I think that's too low. So I'm going to take NC State to win at home against Wake Forest. They're going to cover the spread. I am also going to take the under on this one. And no, not all the picks that I have today are going to be unders, although most of them are. Virginia Tech travels to Stanford, travels out to wherever the hell Stanford is. I can't remember. And I know it's in California. I can't remember. Virginia Tech goes to Stanford and is an 8 point favorite. Now, I'm also going to take the under in this one. And I'm not necessarily sure I would take Virginia Tech to win this game. Matter of fact, I am not taking Virginia Tech to win this game because of the travel. I do not think Virginia Tech's going to be able to keep up with Stanford throughout the game, and I think Stanford's going to take advantage of that. So I take Stanford to cover the spread and the win with the under. Clemson goes on the road to play Florida State. They go on the road to play Florida State as a 14.5 point favorite. This is another point spread that makes no sense. Okay. Clemson is clearly one of the top front runners to make it or win the make it to or win the ACC. This is way too low. Florida State's not good at all. I do believe Clemson's going to win by more than 2 touchdowns. If Florida State somehow wins, it's going to be low scoring. But I do think Florida State, Clemson is going to do what they did to Stanford and win by a score similar to that. Yeah, that game, it's going to be ugly. It's not that makes 14.5 for Clemson is too low. I'm going to take the over on this, and I'm going to take Clemson to win and cover. Duke, coming off an impressive win, as I mentioned earlier in the live stream, over North Carolina, 21-20, coming back down 20 points. Duke will play a team who is also struggling. Now, I've been watching Rec Talk and Sea Dog, and what they're saying Georgia Tech's problem right now is the lack of pass rush getting to the quarterback and creating pressures. And also the secondary isn't all that great either. And also they seem to not be able to stop the run or really run the ball very well themselves. And this game has Georgia Tech as a 9.5-point favorite. And I'm not confident this game will go over the point total, which is 54.5. I'm not confident. It's possible, but I'm not confident it's going to. I'm going to take the under on this one. However, I'm not sure that Duke is going to win this game, and I'm not sure Georgia Tech is going to win this game. And I'm not sure either team's going to win this game by the point spread either. I do not think either team's going to cover. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip. Whoops. I'm going to flip this coin. All right. This quarter. This 2024 quarter. Ooh, this is actually pretty nice. Heads is going to be Georgia Tech. Tails is going to be Duke. All right. It is actually tails. I'm going to take Duke because the quarter says so. Duke's going to win this game. I'm going to take the under. I do not think it's going to be by the point spread, though. So neither team covers. Miami travels all the way to Berkeley, California, to take on the California Golden Bears. And this has trap game written all over it. To me, this game right here, California versus the Miami Hurricanes in Berkeley, has trap game written all over it. I'm taking the over in this one. Miami comes in favored by 10. However, this has trap game written all over it for me. I'm going to play it safe and pick Miami to win and cover. However, this screams trap game for Miami because they almost blew it against Virginia Tech. If Virginia Tech's not that good, they're overrated, and they were able to give Miami everything they could handle. And the thing is, for the first half, USF was able to give Miami everything they could handle, and then Miami just blew away in the second half. So, with that being said, I'm going to take Miami to cover. I'm going to take the over, but watch out. California could very easily upset Miami. I do think that Miami may be the same Miami. They get overhyped during the preseason like they always do. Sometimes they come out of the non-conference undefeated. But as soon as they start conference play, that's when you see Miami becoming Jekyll and Hyde again. Jekyll during the first part of the season, Hyde during the last part, aka ACC play. So be careful. In the final game on my list, which is a game I will be going more in depth on Friday. I will be doing a live stream Friday. I want to say probably around the same time. So 6 o'clock this coming Friday. Be back here on this channel for the Pitt versus North Carolina preview and prediction show. I'm still doing my notes for that video. Got some stats written down about both quarterbacks, comparing offensive lines. Who gives up more pressures, who gives up more sacks, where's the weaknesses in the offensive line, yada yada yada. I'm going to talk about both defenses, the playmakers on both defenses. So more in depth, and hopefully I get to have the Tar Heel huddle on here. But Pittsburgh has a chance to. They have a chance to do something they've never been able to do at all, ever, even before the ACC days. And that is beat North Carolina down in Chapel Hill. North Carolina has won the last 8 out of 10 meetings between Pitt and themselves. Pitt winning in COVID year, and then 2021. Both games went to overtime, and both games should not have went to overtime. That's a good thing I like about this little miniature rivalry, if you want to call it that, because I do think it is a miniature rivalry. I just don't think there's enough hatred. Is Sam Howell has never beaten Pitt. Sam Howell has never beaten Pitt. So to me, that's a good thing. I like it. We just weren't able to beat Drake May. Now, I went through the past 4 games against North Carolina in Pitt, and Pittsburgh has been able to sack the Carolina quarterback 14 times. 14 in the past 4 games, they have been able to sack the quarterback. Last year, Drake May was sacked by the Pitt Panther defense 5.5 times. 5.5 times, ladies and gentlemen. He's just good at getting. I should say, he got the ball out quicker than I thought he could. And North Carolina obviously won that game last year. This game is different. This game means more to Pitt to win than it does to North Carolina. Not saying there isn't a lot of meaning for the Tar Heels. Pitt has to win at this game to be, one, taken seriously, or should I say start to be taken seriously, and 2, If we beat North Carolina comfortably, this is the one time, or this is the time I will start advocating for the Pittsburgh Panthers to be ranked. Okay. A lot of people think they should be ranked now. I am not one of those people. We have to beat North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and I will then be okay with us being ranked. This game is set at 63.5. Pitt is favored by 3 points, so a field goal essentially. I think that's too low. I do believe Pitt will be able to win by at least 2 possessions. Not 2 touchdowns, but 2 possessions, so a touchdown and a field goal. I think they definitely have the talent to do that. I also think it could be even worse for the Tar Heels because I just don't see them being able, no matter who they have in their lineup, being able to keep up with our offense and be able to always keep Eli Holstein in check. And let's also not beat around the bush either. Jacoby Griswold is only completing 58% of his passes. That's all he's doing. 889 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 19 carries for 40 yards. 40 freaking yards. No touchdowns, everybody. He has been sacked multiple times. Multiple times. 7 to be exact. I think this is too low. I do think Pitt will win by more than 1 possession. And I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to take Pitt to finally get over that Chapel Hill curse and beat the North Carolina Tar Heels. Whew. All right, everybody. That is all I got for today. If there was people up in the background, I would be on here longer, but since there is not, there's nobody in the background unless somebody gets off here before, or unless somebody gets in the background before I actually leave. That is what my ACC recap, preview, and prediction show will look like. Yes, Lo-Fi, I will be back on the PlayStation here. I am going to get something to snack on real quick. That is all I am going to have for today's show. Make sure you guys tune in Friday at 6 p.m. where I preview and predict in depth the Pitt versus North Carolina football game. Like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Click the notification bell to stay up to date for more Pitt and college football content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it was great having everybody here who tuned in, whether you were a lurker or you were an active commenter like wide receiver Pitt here. Much love to everybody. I'll see you Friday, 6 o'clock.